Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Welcome to the Black Tax. There's an African proverb that says, when two drums fight, the village suffers. Most of us have arguments with our family, with our friends, co-workers, and a lot of times it's about something that they did to you or you did to them, and there's a disagreement of who's right and who's wrong. But what I think is important to understand is that most conflicts is two wounds arguing. Each person has a perspective, each person has an opinion, each person has feelings involved in the situation. Some people jump up, will rant and rave and yell and scream to get their point across, and other people just sit still and listen and interject when necessary. But both parties are victims in the argument because they're both dealing with their emotional needs, their wants, and being heard. I can tell you that I have had many an argument. And a lot of times I sit and I listen and I start calculating in my head, that's not right, that's not true. Nope, never said that. And one thing about me and people who've known me 30 plus years, 40 years, will tell you, I have the ability to recall things, conversations, moments, what you were wearing, where you were standing, how the conversation came up. My discernment is insanely tight. And a lot of times, most people just want to be heard. They want to feel like you understand their position, even if you don't understand their position, even if that position is fucked up and wrong. You acknowledge that it is their feeling and you keep your emotions out of it. I don't say a lot of things. I don't argue with people. We may have a disagreement. We may have some things. But there's going to come a point where sarcastically, I'm going to say, okay, my bad. I'm sorry. That was not my intention. And it's not that I'm trying to wiggle out of the argument. I just know where I'm getting ready to go. And what I don't want to do is be condescending, disrespectful, hurtful, because I can be very cruel when I am angry with people. And I don't want that to be the calling card of who Malik Shakur is. I don't want that to be the thing that destroys relationships. And some relationships need to be destroyed. There is one individual who is completely out of my life, and every link she has to people that I know, I've cut them off. So sometimes you have to cut the head off if you want everything else to die. But in arguments, it's never one person against the other. It's each person against each other. Because everybody wants to say what they got to say. Wrong, right, or indifferent. There's something I read about Donald Trump. And he said, as long as you keep telling the same story, people will begin to believe the story, even if it's a bold-faced lie. And I'm sure many of people who listens to this, many of you have had a bold-faced lie told about you. And no matter what you try to do to shake it, it doesn't shake free. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. That is the story that people believe because they can't believe that you would be a decent human being. See, that argument is not just between two people. That argument is against two families. Your group of friends, their group of friends, and everybody weighing in without knowing what actually happened in the middle of the two of you. I'm not saying your voice should not be heard. By no means. Stand 10 toes down if you believe in what you believe in. But be mindful that you are arguing with someone who is equally 10 toes down on what they believe. Life is funny. Life is crazy. Life is full of ups and downs. Friendships come, friendships go. If you take stock in what you know and the friends you have, you will see you only have maybe 4 good friends. Maybe. And that has nothing to do with your character. That has nothing to do with things that you don't do or won't bend the knee to. It has to do with who you are and why you stand up for what you believe in. Just like the other person who you're arguing with. They've got their belief system. They've got their opinions and how they see the world. And sometimes those two worlds don't match. And sometimes those two worlds, they don't get along. They don't match. There's a place on the planet where the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean meet. They're 2 different colors. Why is that? pH balance, chemical balance, whatever the invisible wall that's there. They coexist together, but they can be very, very different. Just like friendships and arguments. They can be very, very different. They see it their way, you see it your way. No one wants to see it the other person's way because they feel like if they surrender, they lose everything. You know, my father, in his infinite wisdom, when I was engaged to be married and walking down the aisle and doing all these other things, he said to me, let her win 90% of the arguments, and you stand on your principle for the 10. And I was like, that's not really a marriage. That's more of a dictatorship. He's like, no, it's not. What you're doing is giving her the space to be heard, giving her a moment that what she believes and what she thinks is right is right. A lot of times that goes either way, regardless of gender, sexual identity, color, it goes the same way. Every human being wants to be heard and what they're saying to be felt. So when you have these arguments between 2 people and everybody starts taking sides, you can't take it personal. You have to accept what it is. My ex told some of the most amazing lies about me as we were going through our breakup. She convinced, and it didn't take much to convince, because people don't like me, that I was a cad, that I was a horrible human being. And it's okay. I can't sweat it. I don't worry about it. It makes for a great story. It makes for a better series. Watch out. 36 South Portland on its way. But I don't move off of my position. I'm comfortable standing in a crowd and bricks and bottles being thrown at my head or being picked up and being carried on people's shoulders. I'm consistent in my systems. I'm consistent in my belief system, who I am, why I am, and what I am. But I can respect what you're saying. I can respect what you believe. I can accept that we're going to disagree. And I tell that to people who I have been friends with and I'm no longer going to ever be friends with. Here's where we can agree to disagree. Especially when you're telling me something that I know is factually wrong. And I'm pointing to the sources to prove to you they're factually wrong. And you still want to say, oh, no, that's not the truth. I don't know where you got that from. It's called the library. Google is free. You can cross-check references in Perplexity. Shout out for AI. You can do all these things. And sometimes, in the words of Michelle Obama, when they go low, you go high. Sometimes you got to go high. But when you're ready to go low, take it to the gutter. Every relationship has ups and downs. Every relationship has moments where there's friction. In every relationship, the other person wants to be heard. And sometimes that's all you have to do is listen. So, I want you to think about when you're not heard. How does that make you feel? I want you to think about how you play that over and over in your head, questioning, did you do too much? And then think about the same questions you're asking yourself, the other person is asking themselves. And in that moment is where you can find clarity about what should happen, how you move forward on it, or you just let the argument or the relationship die on the vine. You have choices in your life. You have spaces that you can belong to, things you can do. The only thing I ask is that you understand that most conflicts have two wounds, and the argument is the discussion of those wounds. But never move off your principle to satisfy someone else's anger. Hold your own, but respect them and what they are saying and what they believe. Stay woke. We out.